Welcome back to my channel. This is actually the same night that I made the cupcakes. You can see them over there behind me cooling. Oh, I decided to go ahead and break this up into multiple videos. So I made the cupcakes for our party that we're having tomorrow night. Well, right now I am putting together the Italian beef. Now this is how I put together my Italian beef. I am Italian, and so I love Italian food. If you like Italian beef at all, this is the easiest Italian beef you'll ever make. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up some onions. I am going to add some pepperoncinis, a little bit of port wine. I'm going to cheat and use this Louie's PNR Italian beef seasoning mix. Louie's is a local business that sells Italian foods. They actually get a lot of their foods from the Hill in St. Louis. Louie's PNR has been around for, I don't know, maybe 100 years or so. My dad actually worked there when he was a kid, but they have tried to keep things as authentic as possible. So they have come up with their own seasoning mix for that. I think they have an online store that you could possibly purchase it from, but locally we can buy these at our local stores around here. So we don't even have to go into Louie's. But anyways, this is super easy to use. I used to make my Italian beef from scratch. It used to be a 2-day process, and frankly, I just don't have time for that. So I am using their packet mix. I'm using 3 medium-sized onions for this. And then the meat I'm going to be using is 2 chuck roasts. They're a little over 3 pounds each. I know these packets, they say to use 3 pounds of meat. So I'm going to show you how I make my Italian beef and the process that I use as well, using all of these ingredients. So I'm going to first slice up these 3 medium onions. And I don't know if you have issues with cutting onions. I had seen somewhere that if you wet a towel, that the chemical in the onions that cause your eyes to burn like to go wherever there's moisture. So I use just a wet towel to try to avoid my eyes burning, because I end up crying whenever I cut onions. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with cutting these onions. So this is how I cut them. I take the onion, peel it, cut it in half, and then I slice across. This is the approximate thickness and how I slice it. I'm just gonna throw all that in the bottom of the crock pot. This might seem like a lot of onions for some people, but I promise you, you won't be able to really taste flavor of the onions. I guess you could say it kind of dissolves into the broth and the sauce that is made whenever you make the Italian beef. Now, some of the Italian beef that I've had, to me, the liquid has been too thin. I like mine somewhat thick. I do that by the process and how I cook my Italian beef in the crock pot. So I have to say that my eyes are burning a little bit, but it's nowhere near as bad as if I did not have this wet washcloth right by these onions. So it's not perfect, but it definitely helps. So this is what it looks like. I'm just laying it down. That's going to be the first layer, and then I'm going to place the meat on top of it. Next, I'm going to take this Italian beef seasoning mix, and I'm just going to sprinkle it on each side of the piece of meat that is in here. I sprinkled some of the onions in between because I'm going to have a second piece of meat on top of it. You can see I just took 1 packet per piece of meat, and I equally sprinkled the seasonings on each side. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a full jar of pepperoncini peppers. And this is going to be peppers, juice, and all, including the stems. Once that pepperoncini jar is added, juice and all, I'm going to add a little bit of port wine to it. I'm just going to estimate somewhere between 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup. I'm just going to pour it in. And this is just a Taylor port. It's not super expensive. And then the secret ingredient, I'm just gonna sprinkle in a little bit of cumin. So that should be plenty. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill the rest of the way up with water. And be sure you keep at least 1 jar of pepperoncinis in the jar raw so that you can add that to your sandwich or eat it on the side, because that's always great. So this is just water. And I'm just going to add that to it. I'm going to fill it up just right above the top of the meat. So I'm just estimating it might be more like 2 or 3 cups of water. But if I don't add a lot more water than what it calls for, the way I cook it, it concentrates down so much that it becomes super salty. The Au Jus does. So that's why I do that. So what I'm going to do next, and my process with cooking Italian beef, I sometimes cook it up to 24 hours, and that's why this is so delicious. Aside from all the seasonings that I add to it, of course. But what I'm going to do is it is approximately, well, there you go. It's 7:55 p.m. I am going to put this crock pot on high. As soon as I wake up in the morning, maybe around 7 in the morning or so, I'm going to turn it down to low and let it cook the rest of the day. We should be eating somewhere between 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. So I will show you what this looks like right before we serve it. And you will see the magic happen come tomorrow. So it is approximately 6:45 in the morning, and this Italian beef smells absolutely amazing. It has the whole house smelling wonderful. I actually woke up in the middle of the night and I could smell it even then. So first things first, before I forget, I want to go ahead and drop this down to low. So it's been cooking for about 10 hours and 45 minutes. You can see the level of water has dropped a little bit. I'm probably going to be adding more water, but what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to come in with the tongs and start breaking it up. Look at that. It is so amazing. So I'm going to break this up, add a little bit more water, because as it cooks, of course, it makes it a more concentrated flavor. And I don't want this too salty. That's all I'm going to do. And then I'm going to let it continue cooking until it's ready to eat at around maybe 5, 6 o'clock tonight. So I added about 2 more cups of water, and I just kind of went through and picked up the different pieces of meat and kind of broke it up. This is going to continue to cook for the rest of the day, but this is one of my favorite and easiest dishes to make. So the next time you see this, it will be many hours later and in sandwich form. So the Italian beef is finished, but before we do that, I want to show you the best way I prepare the Italian beef, what I love. So you take a piece of garlic, and this is my homegrown garlic. And if you'd like to watch those videos as to how I grow and harvest the garlic, I'll pop those down below. Anyways, you cut the garlic in half, toast your bread in the oven. I put it on broil maybe 2 minutes, no more than 3 minutes. And then you are going to take it and you're just going to brush that garlic right on. And this just takes it up to the next level. This is an absolutely amazing way to give yourself a garlic bread base. And all those oils in the garlic, oh my gosh, it's so good. And I love garlic so much. I like to thinly slice the garlic. Italian beef's been cooking for approximately 20 hours. I went ahead and I put this on warm around 1 o'clock this afternoon. So, and this is what it looks like now. Check this out. It smells amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I will go ahead and plate it up and let's see how it tastes. So I didn't want to use a whole bunch of meat because I wanted to make sure there was enough for everybody. So this is the Italian beef here, and how I like to prep the sandwich is I take a pepperoncini and I just break the tip off and then pour all those juices over it. And then I break off the top and kind of cut it in pieces. And then I'm going to lay my garlic inside of there. I know not everybody loves garlic and pepperoncinis, but this is my go-to. It is my favorite. So I might add 1 or 2, and then I have a couple on the side here. Let me go ahead and cut this sandwich and give it a taste. Oh, don't want to lose that. My goodness. It's been a while since I made Italian beef. This is the best. I'm going to have to make this multiple times over the winter. I forgot how good this really is. This is so delicious. Let me show you the bread that I use. And you can use any bread that you would like. It's usually this type of bread that we pick up, but you can use whatever bread you want. And then don't forget to serve it with Lay's. And let me know if you decide to cook this recipe, and let me know what you think of the recipe if you do decide to try it. What's your favorite way to prepare Italian beef? Let me know in the comments below. I want to thank you for you spending your time with me, and until next time, thank you for watching.